the wizard. In England, he sometimes wore the costume of, as one reviewer termed, a savage Indian, and would traverse the streets of towns in this guise to drum up an audience for his shows. Before, during, and after his exhibitions, he gave away prizes, including expensive watches, silver teapots, meat, and even a smart donkey. And sometimes he even staged donkey or foot races to whet interest in his performances. He hypnotized British individuals on stage, embarrassing them by making them believe they were sheep, and gobbled down raw cabbage or paste. He held dark seances and practiced clairvoyance or second sight. He sang and danced on stage, at times appearing alongside and even embedded within minstrel shows. In other words, Brown did all manner of things to attract people to his shows, and he continued to perform up until the last few years before his death, perhaps even returning to England in 1890 and 1896. He reinvented himself over and over, performatively resurrecting himself again and again. His astounding life as a performer and his out-of-the-box thinking about how slavery and freedom could be staged are detailed in this book. I also have an eye in this book on Brown's resurrection in our own time, and particularly in the last 30 years, when leading poets, writers, and artists have paid homage to him. Even though most contemporary artists know little about Brown, other than the 2 sentences that start this book, they have felt compelled to engage in what I term boxology, a word that mixes mythology, mixology, and, of course, the idea of the box itself. The box symbolically and literally was both womb and tomb to Brown. Had it never been opened, Brown could have suffocated or starved to death in it. But because the box did reach freedom, it became a symbol of his rebirth as a free man. Brown's escape by box was referred to in his era as a miraculous resurrection and visualized as such. The men in this lithograph who received Brown at Philadelphia look astounded by his survival, while Brown stares straight at a viewer with an expression that is a little hard to read. He is sitting, but his arms are bent at a slight angle, as if he is getting ready to push himself out of the box. Brown's feat was certainly viewed as a magical propulsion into freedom. One 1850 source writes about the magical box into which a slave was put, worth a few $100s. The box was jolted a few miles by railroad and other conveyances, and when opened, up sprung a free man, worth a sum beyond computation. No wonder, then, that Brown's resurrection by box fascinated individuals in Brown's time and has continued to intrigue magicians, novelists, children's book writers, artists, performers, and poets today. The image of Brown's resurrection from the living death of slavery is reiterated in multiple ways throughout his life and into our era. Versions of this image were, for example, replicated visually within other resurrection prints, on stage when Brown acted as himself and was boxed and reboxed again, and in numerous newspaper illustrations into the late 1870s. Pictures of Brown emerging from his box have been repeated in our era in sculpture, performance art, illustrated children's books, and visual poetry, as I discuss in the last 2 chapters of this book and show in my appendix. The photographic theorist Ariella Azoulay encourages us not only to look at photographs, but also